Hi, welcome to the Sit, Walk, Work podcast, a show about paying attention. My name is Dominic, your host, and today's episode is a standalone guided meditation designed to give you an opportunity to practice pretty much wherever you are. So when you're ready, the practice will begin shortly after the following chimes. It's time to start to settle in and start to arrive for your IRest practice today. And you want to put yourself in a position where you can be comfortable and you can be still for the next 45 minutes, whether that's seated or lying down. The goal is to create the space and the conditions for you to allow the body an opportunity to simply just be. Lots of doing, lots of activity, both in our mind and in our lives, in us and around us. But for this part of the practice, we are allowing ourselves an opportunity just to observe kind of what comes up and what changes, which is a little different than a lot of what we do, because often we want to interact with, we want to try and shift and change, make adjustments. But really, for this time today, we're going to simply allow ourselves to observe and notice the various changes and the effects they have upon us. And the first way you can begin to notice, and the first things you can begin to notice, is just some of the sensory information around you. So start to notice the sounds in the room that you're in. Notice any smells that might be present. Notice the way the body feels laying on the surface that it's supporting it, or the chair that you're in, just the way you're resting in your space physically. Feel what that feels like to your body. And if you haven't done so already, go ahead and close the eyes. Noticing how, as you close the eyes, the sense of darkness kind of comes in as the light dissipates. And the world that had the boundaries seems to dissolve a little bit, and you get a little more space. And this is kind of the space we will attend to and practice today. With the eyes closed and your attention moving from the sounds to the way the body feels, to the smells and the taste. All of these varying senses working together to make up your experience in this moment. Allowing the attention to be open and wide, meaning not trying to fixate. Maybe the mind captures one thing and kind of stays there, but you want to keep it as broad as possible. Allowing or considering what brought you to practice today. What motivated you to be in this space, to make this time? to interact with yourself in this way. As the passing thought of your intention rolls through your space, notice what, if any, effect that has to the changing sensations of the moment. Now let's begin to bring our attention to focus on just the sensations of feeling grounded and supported in this moment. There is a tactile version of that you can feel in the body. As you allow the arms and the legs and the sit bones to soften into the spaces that are supporting them, to let the head soften into the support it has. And it's in feeling what it feels like to be grounded, you create a space that you can come back to during practice at any point. Come back to the conditions that have created this sense of safety and stability. So notice the way you're breathing. Notice where you feel it in your body and any associated thoughts that are supporting in this moment. And in keeping with this sense of feeling grounded, this inner resource that we can cultivate and come back to at any time in our practice, we'll continue to lay a foundation of support that enables us to explore the totality of ourselves and of the moment. So we'll begin to go a little deeper into noticing the sensations within the body. Our body acts much like the earth. It's the foundation that supports everything to follow. So let your attention begin to drop into the center of your pelvis and just notice where and how that is connecting to the surface that is supporting you. And as we scan our attention in this section of the body, we're noticing any sensations that are present to include any sensations that are not present. The lower half of our body represents that space of being, that space of stability. It's one of the first foundations we have. From the center of the pelvis, you can let your attention move over to the right leg, to include the right glute, the upper part of the right leg, front and back. The right knee, front and back. Down into the right calf, to the center of the right foot, and all the way out through all of the toes on the right leg. And it's as if a spotlight is shining on the leg and you feel the movement of your attention. Everything else is still present, but now the right leg is a little bit at the forefront. Feeling the weight of it, any tingling or pulsing there. The blanket that might be covering it or the texture of the clothing against it. The foot that leads us, that steps us forward, moves us towards the things we desire and want. And then allowing the attention to slowly lift and shift and move over to the left leg, the left glute, the left sit bones, the upper part of the left leg, the left knee, front and back, the left shin and calf, the left ankle, center of the left foot, all the way out through the toes. The entire left leg is sensation now. Noticing that as soon as you begin scanning the left, there might be a bit of comparison that takes place. You might notice how sensations are different between left and right. Can you drop that comparison and just allow yourself to be with the sensations showing up on the left side? Now allow your attention to encompass both the left and the right sides, as well as the center of the pelvis, the entire lower half of the body, and its changing landscape of sensation. From the space of being grounded, we build upon our foundation as we move up the body to the space of our ability, starting with the center of our chest. Right in the heart space, we let our attention rest here in the center of our torso, where you might feel the breath move up and down or side to side. Where you might feel the boundaries of your breath as you breathe and the rib cage expands and contracts. Moving from the center of the chest to the right side of the torso, to include the shoulder, the right upper arm, the right elbow, forearm, wrist, and the center of the right hand. Feeling the weight of it, feeling the pulse moving through it, the textures moving against it. Our right hand is the hand that makes the deal, that signs the check, that makes the things happen in our world. Noticing that your sensation landscape is getting wider and broader, that you still may feel the sensations in the lower half of the body or the center of the chest and also the right arm. And letting the attention slowly move over to the left side of the torso, the left shoulder, the left upper arm, the left elbow, forearm, the left wrist, then center of the left palm out through the left fingers. The left side represents our lunar, our more calming and soothing nature. Feel the heaviness in the left arm, or the lightness that's present. Notice that there may be even discomfort in some spaces that you observe. But what happens when we give them that discomfort our attention and our breath? Metaphorically, the left hand holds the heart, the softness. Allowing attention to expand and include all sensations from the toes to the fingertips. The lower half of the body, the torso, and all the way out through the hands as sensation. When you have stability and you then place ability on top of it, you're free to have a bit of imagination. And so as we begin to move up to the final section of the body, we move to the space of imagination, to the subtlest parts of ourselves, allowing your attention to move up to the space between the eyebrows. As you notice sensations here, notice the degree of subtlety that's changed. Letting attention move between the right side of the face and the left side of the face. Feeling the head being supported. Any tension held in the jaw. The softness of your lips or the smoothness of your breath with each inhale and exhale. Now your attention opens wide enough to include everything from the crown of the head all the way to the toes. We know that there's physical boundaries present, but let the sensations expand beyond those boundaries through the use of your attention. As you peel back the labels and just allow yourself to be with the sensation, you start to create more and more space. And it's in the space that we call home that we start to build upon. If the body is the house, then the breath is the water flowing through it. So let your attention begin to observe the breath. It's been moving as a part of the sensations of the body, so maybe some of those things will overlap. But exclusively begin to give your attention to the breath. Simply noticing where the breath is showing up. The pace at which it's moving. How deep or how shallow it is. Witnessing the aliveness of your breath and its very loving nature. Witnessing any gratitude that might be present. Now we'll begin to move the breath. A bit of imagination and a bit of breathing kind of come to meet here. As we bring our attention back to the center of the pelvis where it was in our previous body scan. And imagine that with our next breath, we're pulling the breath up the front of the body. That the breath is like the effort rising from below all the way up to the crown of the head. And as you exhale, you imagine that the breath falls down the back of the body, follows the spine all the way back to ground. And the cycle repeats itself. Breathing up the front and descending down the back. Allowing yourself to feel what it's like to move the breath in this way. And what is it like to feel any pauses at the top or the bottom of the breath? It's as if the breath is wrapping you with each inhale and each exhale. The breath reminding us that each bit of effort placed into something is offset by the corresponding grace. So the effort of the inhale is met with the descending grace of the exhale. And we'll move the breath and our attention around the body. So we'll begin to take our breath from wrapping up and down to circling around us clockwise. So imagine and bring your attention to the left shoulder. As you inhale, the breath wraps around the front of you. Over to the right shoulder. And as you exhale, it wraps from the right shoulder behind you and over to the left. So the inhale moving around the front of you from left to right, and the exhale moving around the back of you from right to left. Each breath moving at its natural pace and rhythm. Another spin and another revolution. Each breath another opportunity. With the next breath, take an inhale up the front of the body, that breath of effort, and exhale down the back of the body, that grace descending.
Here you go.
And then on the next breath, start from the left shoulder, wrap around to the right. And as you exhale from the right, wrap around to the left. Bringing both of them into the mix. Allowing the breath to flow continuously. Allowing the intention to begin to soften from the visualization and the movement of the breath. And to take a moment and observe what feelings or thoughts are flowing through in the moment. And to observe the feelings and thoughts that are present is simply to notice the changing nature of them. Notice when you want to hold on to one of them or you want to push one away. Or allow yourself to simply be with the space of it all. Spacious, unchanging nature of the moment that has acted as a backdrop to your experience, to the practice today. Notice and feel how there's a sense of groundedness, very similar to the physical, tactile sense of groundedness that's been a part of your practice. Allow yourself to rest in this open space of awareness. Allowing yourself an opportunity to reconnect now with your inner resource. That sense of feeling grounded and supported that we started practice with. Moving from your inner resource back to noticing your thoughts and feelings that are present and how that affects your breath. And you feel it as sensations in your body. And the cycle brings you right back to where we started. As we begin to close out your practice of IRest today. As your practice comes to a close, take time to slowly allow yourself to come back to your fully awakened state. Noticing that when the eyes open, that the external world now becomes a part of the internal space you've just been exploring. Thank you for listening to today's episode. I invite you to check out my Substack, where we are building a community of like-minded individuals to discuss all topics related to the idea of paying attention. I hope to see you there. But until then, with Metta may you be well.